Hey, welcome to this week's video. The topic we're going to cover today is kind of a question. So does losing weight make you happy? So we're not just going to cover that. We're kind of going to look at all the other aspects that fall into that. So that includes diet culture, body image, and I guess what happens when you reach your dream body. Like, what do you really get out of that process? So those of you who know me know that I've been in this field for like 10 years now, running my own business, which is most of the time purely based on body transformation and weight loss. And for me personally, I'm 39 now. I joined the gym when I was about 15 with this goal in mind. And I genuinely, between the age of 15 and like 29 years old, thought that if I was lean, I would become happy. So this is something that I've definitely learned the hard way. And then I coach in a way that really does encompass this. So yeah, I just want to cover it in a video and just get a gauge for whether or not this is a topic that people are interested in. So right off the bat, does losing weight make you happy? No, absolutely not. It does not change how you feel about yourself from the inside. So we're going to cover that, the reasons behind that. And we're also going to cover where does it come from. So we're going to look a little bit into that. You know, where can we be responsible? Where is society responsible? And where does the happiness part lie? We'll look a little bit into that. And what can you do to start improving your idea around this topic in your own life, if this is something that is recurring for you, if you struggle with it. So let's start with, where does it come from? So there are two aspects that I believe play a role in this. So one is the media, and the second is our own personal issues. So yes, we do have some accountability in this field of body image issues, but let's look at the media first. So if we think back a few years ago, we really had no access to different people's bodies. So there really was no one famous in the world that had a body other than one that we would consider to be perfect. And there was really no representation in the media in general. You know, like if you're watching the news, the women are so immaculate. If you're watching a movie, they're the most beautiful women that ever lived. If you're looking at a magazine, you've got a photoshopped image, probably not even legit. And, you know, this is kind of all that we were exposed to. And it kind of started to shift. So as social media came in and the fitness industry started to grow, it was actually quite positive. Yes, it was focusing on weight loss a lot, but there was a large community within that industry that was actually telling women to eat. So myself included, from 2012, having learned this lesson myself, one of the first things I would do is teach women how to eat. And it was actually really easy to get women to eat more back then because first of all, they're already sick of starving themselves. And second of all, they didn't really have an outside influence telling them not to do that. And their body image issues weren't as charged as they are probably now. So then we had, you know, social media grew, and then the fitness industry was filled with insanely ridiculous bodies. So now we have this like massive polarity. So on one side, we've got the body positivity movement where we reject all diet culture, but not only diet culture, we also reject the notion of eating healthy. And then we have on the other side, these insane fitness models that are, to be honest, they're just not realistic. They are outliers. They are not normal human beings. You know, so we had the magazines that were always telling us to lose weight with perfect women on the front. We have fitness magazines that were all about that as well, with bodybuilders on the front. Then we had celebrities who were uber perfect, and we had really no representation of a normal woman's body. So remembering that a normal woman's body will be anywhere between 18% and 30% if in a healthy body fat range. So some people are really lean, and that is their genetics. Other people are a little bit heavier, and that is their genetics. And both women can be equally healthy. Just as much as you can have someone who might even be a little bit over 30% body fat who still might be healthier than a woman who's 18%, because being skinny or lean, for example, is actually not an indicator of health. That's a much more complicated topic. And so now we have this new problem, and I can vouch for this more than anything because I deal with it on a daily basis. So because of Instagram, we have all these fitness influencers. So what I was telling you are outliers. So these people that are absolute freaks, like their structures are genetically elite, their bodies respond in an elite way, they're probably on performance enhancing drugs. You know, they kind of accentuate the femininity to counteract those drugs with like Botox, filler, hair extensions, eyelash extensions, breast implants, all of these kinds of things to increase the femininity because there's a lot of masculine hormone going on there. So that's kind of one problem. So that's not a representation of nor what a normal woman can achieve. So then from that, we have a secondary issue being that a woman joins the fitness industry, you know, associating these bodies with being like the ultimate in health and the ultimate in well-being. And of course, course, these women as well have millions of followers. So somebody might aspire to be like that, thinking it's possible for them, not realizing that it's not. And as they achieve actually leaps and bounds in their own health and fitness journey, and their body changes significantly, they look fantastic, they're healthier than they've ever been, they just then look at themselves again and they think they're inadequate because they are nowhere near these outliers that we're talking about. So it's now even further skewed the way a woman would feel about herself when she's actually in an industry that once would have served her positively. So what used to be positive is now negative. And as a coach, we kind of went from making progress, as I said, really easy to help women eat more, and then now all of a sudden it's become a struggle again. So even there's a lot of representation online of people eating more, we've got all the women who have been perpetually dieting their whole lives who can't just take that step, and who are also still stuck in this loop of seeing all these perfect bodies and actually just wanting to stop eating in order to get closer to that type of body without understanding how they get there, you know, what's involved, and what that person has over the average person. You know, so we turn to fitness to boost our confidence, we end up feeling even more inadequate. And what happens then is most of the time we kind of fall out through the holes at the bottom and end up in the body positive movement saying, no diet works for me, I can't lose weight no matter what I do, and you know, I'm a victim and I'm just gonna eat crap because there's no solution for me. So we kind of end up with that problem. You know, so that's the media aspect of it, like including social media and celebrities and all that kind of thing. So we come to the second problem, which is that it's our personal issues, so our own personal issues that find us in this loop. Okay, so not everyone gets sucked in to diet culture. Not everyone is susceptible to that. So there is not one organization anywhere that inflicts body image issues on another person. You know, they can show us messaging of perfect bodies, but we're not all going to buy into that and believe that we need to look that way. It's only going to happen to a certain group of people. Okay, so we have to be somewhat vulnerable to it. And just like an addictive substance can stay on the market, something like cigarettes or alcohol and sugar, fast food, all these things are addictive, yet they're still on the market. And some prescription drugs as well fall into this. You know, why are they still there? Because they're addictive. You know, some people, their lives get ruined over it. But the justification behind keeping these things on the market is the fact, the absolute plain and simple fact, that not everyone becomes addicted to these substances. Some people can drink a glass of wine and just go to bed, you know, and live their normal life. They can do that 3, 4, 5 times a week. Some people can have a cigarette with their friends and not smoke during the week. Some people can take heroin and don't become a drug addict. These things happen, you know, but that is because that individual is not susceptible to that addiction. So there's this really great saying, and it's by this guy called Dr. Gabor Mate. So you should look him up if you're interested in this kind of topic of, I guess, addiction, because that is really where this whole body image thing lands, because it's almost like an exercise, body recomposition, diet addiction. So he says, ask not why the addiction, ask why the pain. So if you think about it like that, there has to be a pain point within you that is connecting to these messages that makes you believe that by leaning into these things that you're going to have somewhat less pain in general. You know, so you have to believe on some level that as you are, as Mother Nature made you, you're not good enough. And then on another side, you have to believe that somewhere on the other end of this body transformation is more happiness for you. Okay, so the problem is not the body transformation. That is not the problem. If you're doing it with a healthy coach in a healthy environment, the problem is when you believe that the body change itself is where the happiness lies, you know, because that is incorrect, but we'll get to that in a minute. So lots of people do not know that we have 3 basic human needs. So that is food and water, shelter, and connection. So we really want to be connected in with the tribe. So deep down, a lot of what we do and a lot of the pain we experience in the modern day, it's not actually because we lack food, water, or shelter, because we do not. You know, we each have different qualities of food, water, and shelter available to us, but most of us have access to that. So what can be preyed on in us, and corporations do this all the time, is they can prey on your lack of connection. So if you're somebody who feels, you know, that you don't belong on some level, or maybe you think there's something inherently wrong with you, you know, and this is not a judgmental thing because I 100% carry all of these beliefs. This is why I know this information, because I've been here, done that, transformed it. So you have to feel somewhat an outcast from society. And whether it is that you just don't feel enough joy in your daily life, like you're not able to manufacture that feeling, maybe you feel unloved by your partner, if you have those underlying feelings, it's generally an indication that you're not able to manifest that feeling within yourself. So if you lack joy, you're not manifesting it within yourself. You're not doing things that make you feel joy because you don't feel joy. Or you're not able to feel inadequate. Like it's a perfectionism comes in here. Like if you're always trying to strive to be perfect, then, and perfectionist is absolutely susceptible to diet culture and body image issues, then perfectionism is really just like, unless I'm perfect, I won't be loved. Unless I'm perfect, I won't be accepted. So that also comes in under the umbrella of like connection. And for me, for example, as I grew up, I felt completely alone. I felt, I was sad. I had a lot of other issues going on, like emotional issues. So what I kind of did was look around and I thought, well, the celebrities look really bright and shiny and happy. The people in the magazines look really bright and shiny and happy. So there's obviously something wrong with me. And then coupling that to the fact that I wasn't naturally lean in any way, I'm definitely on the higher end of the 18 to 30, I decided there was something wrong with me. And then back then there was no clothes available. So remember, we've gone back like 25 years here. I had real big boobs. I couldn't buy any swimmers that fit, couldn't buy bras that fit. So I thought if I change my body, I can buy the things that other people are buying, I can fit in. I will feel connected. And I worked on that for 15 years straight. And then we come to the next point being, what happens when you do get skinny? So I got skinny. Well, I'm going to say skinny, but it's lean. I got lean, did a bodybuilding competition when I was 29. I believe, maybe 28, and no body fat on stage. I was miserable, and so it's something I strived for 15 years, thinking that moment was actually going to bring me so much joy and happiness. And my heart broke, as I started to get leaner because I was like, I don't look good. All I noticed was there was a couple of pockets of fat left that I didn't like. My right shoulder was bigger than my left shoulder. I didn't like the fact that my abs weren't sticking out. I just found more problems because the problem came from inside me. So I had to work on that. And then, I did another competition and it was a little bit better because I was aware of it. So I was still trying to achieve that body because I was still obsessed with the idea of it. But I did know by then that it wasn't going to make me happy. So I see this with clients all the time. They want to lose heaps of weight. They want to jump on stage. I will reiterate over and over that, it's not going to make you happy. It's not the answer. Focus on the nutrition, focus on the training. I try and highlight like 12 to 16 weeks out of a comp. This is maintainable for you. Anything from this point is not. But when we've got this dysmorphic idea around things, we kind of put the blinkers on because we've already decided it's going to make us happy. So it doesn't matter what anybody says to you. So go all the way through, do the competition, be really lean, might win the comp, whatever, but then it's over and you go, oh, on the inside, I'm still the same person. So if I felt inadequate 6 months ago when I began this journey, I still feel inadequate now. But what we pull from this is actually, and why I still coach body transformation, despite the fact that I do feel concerned for pretty much anybody who wants to lose weight. I think, how great would it be if we could just eat whatever we wanted and not worry about our bodies? How great would that be? I could have had a totally different life had I not counted every calorie for 25 years of my adult life. But that's what I did. That's where I ended up, and that's also why I'm so passionate about this. So yes, it would be great. But despite that, we're still going to have the pain. We're still going to be drawn to some type of addictive behavior. And if you're going to be drawn to one, fitness, nutrition is probably not the worst one, so long as you are supervised by healthy individuals that are making sure that you don't have any dysfunction going on there. And then when you do something like a competition or you do lose that weight, you can actually learn for yourself that it's not the answer. But what you do from there is you recognize all the ways in which you felt better. And it's something like a competition, again, it's about 12 weeks before that you probably feel your best because you're at quite a healthy weight. You've been eating well for so long, you're not binge eating because the comp, it stops that because you cannot binge eat while you compete. Otherwise you just wouldn't be ready. You're doing regular cardio, you're doing weight training, you're setting boundaries with your friends because you can't go out and eat macas with them. And, so things are sort of changing. You're not drinking alcohol anymore. So your health has overall improved. That's why you feel better. So it's not the body that brings about the happiness. It's the things you learn along the way. And whether one of those lessons has to be that being skinny won't make you happy or this next diet won't make you happy, that's actually a plus because part of life is to throw yourself into things, whether healthy or not. If you throw yourself into something and you learn the hard way that it's not the right thing for you, that's a plus, because otherwise all you're going to do is continue to fantasize over that moment, thinking that's the answer, and you'll never make any other progress until you've actually done it and learned that it's not. So what is the answer in terms of feeling good about yourself from the inside out and how to feel healthy? And that is having energy, so energy to burn, and that doesn't come from perpetual dieting. Another is lowered inflammation. So inflammation comes when you eat a lot of junk food, when you don't sleep properly, if you overtrain, if you undereat, the body gets really stressed out, and inflammation is just a reaction to that stress, but it can degrade the body over time, and then we have something called neuroinflammation, which is actually the inflammation of your nervous system. And that can lead to things like insomnia, depression, anxiety, so keeping the inflammation of the body low is fantastic for your overall health. And that's something that comes with a body transformation goal, because you're no longer eating crap, because to achieve a body you want, you can't eat crap. It comes from better gut health. So again, when you eat things like processed fried food, lots of sugar, lots of gluten, this can have an impact on your gut lining, causing something we call leaky gut, which means you end up with these micro holes in your intestinal lining. And within those holes, you basically end up having food particles, all the foods that you normally eat, leaking into the bloodstream, and then your body develops an immune reaction to that. So it can lead to a lot of food sensitivities and food allergies. I used to have this really bad when I was, really unhealthy. I was actually eating really well, but my stress levels were so high and my gut was so unhealthy, I became allergic to almost everything. And at one point, the only food I could eat without an immediate inflammatory response was cabbage, zucchini, and eggs. So I ate 3 foods for like 2 weeks because they're the only things I could assimilate in my body. So now with a healed gut, I can eat lots of other different foods. I don't have the food allergies anymore. And that's really common for women too. And then lastly, we have the improved hormones. So the healthier your body, the lower the toxic load, for example, then the less burden on the liver, the easier it is to detoxify, and the healthier the body is going to be overall. And if you're moving regularly, this is moving your lymphatic system, because it only circulates when you move, is your body's kind of cleanup network. So all the toxins in your tissues are dumped into the lymphatic system, and when you move, it is circulated, and then it comes out via the sweat, poo, wee, once detoxified in the liver. Okay, so being skinny does not make you happy. Not at all. No, get it out of your head. What does make you healthy is healthy hormones, a healthy gut, a healthy liver with functional detoxification pathways, and low neuroinflammation. And all of those things will be achieved if you're undergoing a weight loss goal, because you're going to be eating better, moving better, sleeping better, and making better choices. And so losing weight does not make you happy. The healthier lifestyle will. And pretty much every client I've ever had, some of them compete over and over again, but that is because their drive does not come from a pain point. They just genuinely love the sport of bodybuilding. This is common too. So there are a lot of people in the fitness industry that don't have body image issues. I'm talking about the people that do. It's kind of up to you as the consumer or the person in the fitness industry if this applies to you. It's always really good to look at where your motivations come from. And if it's thinking a different body will make you happier, knowing that's not the answer, but the path that you're on is actually the right path for becoming healthier, that is a very key learning in a woman's life. Okay, so that's kind of the general crux of what I wanted to cover around body image and dieting. So now let's quickly cover what you can do, or what I would recommend people do to start improving this relationship today. Let's just say, the best way to explain it is like through this term called projection. So if you see somebody and you project onto them and you think, if I was just you, I would be happy. If I looked like you, I would be happy. You're perfect. Or if by seeing them makes you drop inside, like I always say, do you contract or do you expand? If you see somebody, do you expand or do you contract? If you contract, unfollow. If you project your problems onto them, thinking that being like them would make you happy, unfollow. Just because you don't know these people, and you'd be very shocked if you see a lot of these bodies in real life. They're actually just very normal looking people. I've had many clients over the years see their idols and say, oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't rectify that this is this person I've been following for so long. It's all about angles, lighting, Photoshop, things like that. Most of it's not real. And then we have the issue of performance enhancing drugs and stuff. So you don't know if you're looking up to somebody that's doing things that you actually cannot do or won't do yourself. Okay? And then the second tip I have for you is to switch your focus from dieting to nourishing. So stop dieting, stop trying to lose weight, stop cutting carbs, stop cutting, dairy, stop cutting things out of your diet for no reason, and actually just focus on nourishing yourself. Work out how many calories you should be eating per day at a maintenance level. There are calculators online that you can use to do this, and just try and eat that many calories. Getting enough protein in your daily life, so that's 2 times your body weight in grams of protein, awesome. Getting enough fat, which is about your body weight in grams, awesome. If you can do that, you're getting your essential fats, your essential proteins, and you're going to start feeling better. So thirdly, you want to lower your consumption of junk food, and especially alcohol. Alcohol is directly linked to leaky gut. And then fourthly, just start looking within. So just see, what is your reason for dieting? What are you hoping to get out of it? Is there any way you can achieve what it is that you want to achieve without actually going on a diet? And I'll be honest here, like very straight up, if you are overweight, dieting is probably a good idea because it is going to lower inflammation and it's going to give you healthier habits. It all comes down to how you feel within yourself. If you consider yourself to be overweight, but you absolutely love your lifestyle and you're not worried about your body at all, you should absolutely not diet. If you feel good, you should not diet. If you feel like you've got health issues, improving your diet is always going to help. Moving more is always going to help. So that's kind of a personal decision. But absolutely, if you're a healthy weight, you want to stop dieting. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this video. So just keeping in mind that being skinny doesn't make you happy, but the habits you build along the way will contribute to your happiness, but you still have to look within. If you feel like you've got a lot of dysfunction there, reaching out to a therapist is a fantastic idea. And also just keeping in mind that often the best way out of diet culture is actually to go through it and to learn all these lessons for yourself. Now, I truly believe that for some individuals, the best way out of diet culture is actually through it. Learning these things for ourselves firsthand can be really powerful in helping us transform them and move forward from them. So in learning that, now you can focus on stress, the internal reasons as to why you don't feel happy or why you feel like you don't belong, happiness outside of dieting, like how can you feel happy within the body that you have, and you can focus on nourishment because, often when we get into diet culture, we tend to end up binging on naughty foods because we think we're restricted by them, and then because our body is always starved. So if you make sure you're eating enough food on a daily basis, you're less likely to obsess over naughty foods anyway. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover today on the topic. I just wanted to get a gauge as to people's interest in the topic, on and on and on about it for videos on end, because it's the number one thing that I've really focused on in my entire life. So yeah, if you're interested in this topic, you want to hear more, then send me a message, or, pretty much everybody gives me feedback on Instagram, but you can comment below. Yeah, so that's this video and I will see you next week.